Strait of Hormuz, 5:18 a.m. First light, low sun, calm seas. A U.S. Navy task group transiting one of the most critical maritime choke points on Earth. Routine movement, defensive posture standard, commercial traffic nearby, nothing unusual. Then radar contacts multiplied, small fast-moving boats emerging from multiple directions. High speed, tight spacing, no radio calls, no course adjustments. This was not routine traffic. This was not a patrol. It was a coordinated swarm. Iranian fast attack craft accelerating toward the shipping lane, maneuvering aggressively. Designed to disrupt, designed to intimidate, designed to close the strait. Standard procedures followed, including radar confirmation, threat classification, shifts to defensive posture, electronic warfare readiness, and command-level decision-making. On the displays, contacts were tracked as a group, closing at speeds exceeding 40 knots, holding separations under 100 meters, with no communications and no course changes. 30 minutes to possible chaos, from detection to threat confirmation, from escalation to deterrence. This incident shows how a standoff can be resolved without a shot fired. How do navies defuse a crisis when hostile intent is undeniable and the margin for error is razor thin? Strait of Hormuz, 5:18 a.m. First light, low sun, calm seas. A United States Navy task group transiting one of the most critical maritime choke points on Earth. Routine movement, defensive posture standard, commercial traffic nearby, nothing unusual. Then radar contacts multiplied, small, fast-moving boats emerging from multiple directions. High speed, tight spacing, no radio calls, no course adjustments. This was not routine traffic. This was not a patrol. It was a coordinated swarm. Iranian fast attack craft accelerating toward the shipping lane, maneuvering aggressively, designed to disrupt, designed to intimidate, designed to close the strait. In the Combat Information Center, the radar supervisor stands over the main console, eyes locked on the screen. A NSPI-1D begins to paint faint, scattered returns, small, fast-moving objects hugging the surface, barely above the noise of calm seas. Sea State 1, maybe 2. The low sun throws extra clutter across the display, making every wave, crest, and bird a possible target. The supervisor calls for a verification sweep. Pulse Doppler filters kick in, isolating movement by velocity. A cluster of contacts now holds steady at 15 nautical miles, converging from multiple bearings. At the ESM station, a technician listens for electronic signatures. No high-power radar, no radio chatter. Just a faint, intermittent burst on a civilian VHF band. Not enough for a positive identification, but enough to give a bearing. He calls out the direction. The radar team overlays ESM bearings onto their surface plot. The contacts match. This is not random noise. These are real vessels, moving fast, closing the gap with the shipping lane. Within 2 minutes, the combat management system begins to track the swarm. The system assigns track numbers and updates speed, 40 knots, spacing under 100 meters. The initial uncertainty narrows. The radar supervisor relays the refined plots up the chain. Each contact now has a position, a heading, and a speed. The system flags the formation as a pattern, not scattered traffic. Overhead, the helicopter detachment receives a cue. The MH-60R crew powers up the ANAPS-147 radar, sweeping the surface at 10 to 20 nautical miles. The aircraft sensors confirm the shape and size, small hulls, likely fiberglass, running in formation. FLIR imagery, limited by the dawn haze, shows heat signatures from clustered engines. Within seconds, the helicopter relays visual confirmation back to the ship. The surface picture becomes clear. Multiple fast attack craft moving with purpose. By 5:20, the sensor fusion is complete. Weak radar returns have become verified. Reliable tracks, ESM bearings, and airborne radar have stripped away the uncertainty. The Combat Information Center now holds a coherent picture, a coordinated fast boat approach closing on the strait's main artery. Every sensor operator knows what is at stake. The data is ready for the next layer of analysis, pattern recognition, and threat classification. A senior analyst steps forward in the Combat Information Center, eyes moving between the surface plot and a digital overlay of the strait. Pattern recognition algorithms have begun to flag the formation. The system highlights the key triggers, converging vectors, speeds exceeding 40 knots, and spacing between boats consistently less than 100 meters. There is no attempt at radio contact. There is no response to bridge-to-bridge hails on Channel 16. The analyst reviews the plot against known profiles, and routine fishing traffic never moves this fast or this close together. Merchant convoys, even under escort, keep wider separation. The overlay draws from a decade of incident data, swarms off Farsi Island, the Niovi seizure, and most notably, the Maersk Tigris event in 2015, when Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fast boats surrounded a merchant vessel without warning and forced it off course. That precedent sits heavy in the analyst's mind. The approach pattern now matches almost exactly, multiple craft converging to choke the lane, ignoring all standard signals. A formal threat assessment begins. The analyst briefs the chain of command. Speed, spacing, and behavior are presented alongside the automated threat matrix. The system gives a confidence score, high for hostile intent. The analyst references the Maersk Tigris case, noting that similar silence and aggression led to shots fired and a forced diversion. The current contacts are within 10 nautical miles of the main shipping lane, accelerating, still without any attempt at communication. The analyst's recommendation is clear. This is not ambiguous traffic. The risk to commercial vessels is real and immediate. At 5:23, the classification shifts. The contacts are now formally designated as hostile. The combat management system updates the surface plot, flagging each craft in red. The designation triggers a cascade, higher watch states. Legal and rules of engagement advisors on alert, command staff notified. The analyst's rationale is recorded, pattern matched to prior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps swarms, speed and spacing outside civilian norms, and a total lack of compliance with international protocols. The evidence is clear. The threat is no longer theoretical. The strait is at risk of closure, and every decision from this point carries consequences for the safety of the task group and the global flow of commerce. 5:27 a.m., the Combat Information Center stands at full attention. The watch officer receives the analyst's hostile classification and immediately relays it to the bridge messenger. The message is precise: threat confirmed, fast attack craft approaching, rules of engagement pending. The bridge messenger crosses the steel deck at a quick pace, delivering the update directly to the commanding officer. No raised voices, no hesitation. Every word is weighed, every action recorded in the log. The commanding officer acknowledges the report and signals the rules of engagement desk officer. The desk officer, a lieutenant, reviews the latest threat matrix, referencing standing orders and the most recent legal guidance. The rules are clear: hostile intent, proximity to commercial shipping, and pattern match to prior IRGCN swarms. The officer consults with the staff judge advocate, confirming the legal basis for escalation. The decision ladder is short, but each rung is deliberate. There is no time for debate, only disciplined execution. By 5:28 a.m., the command staff elevates the ship's posture. Defensive systems are brought to full readiness. Close-in weapon stations are manned, missile defense systems are placed on alert, and the helicopter detachment receives orders to hold in a visible position over the strait. The combat management system broadcasts a coded alert throughout the task group. All ships raise their watch state, maintain current course, and prepare for a possible show of force. At 5:30 a.m., the commanding officer issues authorization for a visible deterrent. The helicopter drops to a lower altitude, circling above the fast boat formation, searchlights trained on the water. Deck crews stand by, ready to launch flares if ordered. The bridge messenger records every command, every timestamp. The chain of command remains unbroken, each decision flowing upward for approval, then downward for execution. The strait remains open, but the balance hangs on discipline and speed. By 5:32 a.m., the task group's posture is unmistakable, defensive, deliberate, and highly visible. The Spectrum Watch Chief scans the electronic environment, eyes moving across the SLQ-32 console. He notes a faint anomaly in the GPS signal, a subtle drift that has not triggered alarms, but stands out against the usual baseline. It is not the first time. Reports of GPS spoofing in these waters have become routine, especially when Iranian fast boats close in. The chief flags the anomaly and coordinates with navigation to cross-check positions using inertial systems and celestial fixes. The bridge acknowledges, quietly switching to backup navigation and minimizing reliance on external signals. On the VHF, the communications officer initiates a standard warning at 5:34 a.m. Channel 16, the international hailing frequency, carries a calm, rehearsed message. Unidentified vessels, you are approaching a U.S. Navy formation conducting lawful transit. Alter course immediately to avoid escalation. The message is repeated, not for the fast boats. They rarely respond, but for every merchant captain within earshot. The warning serves as a legal marker, a signal to all ships in the strait that the rules are being followed and the situation is under control. The navigation officer orders a subtle course adjustment. The formation tightens, placing commercial traffic inside a moving shield. Tankers and bulk carriers, some flagged to distant nations, are ushered closer to the warships. The intent is clear: protect the flow of commerce, deny the fast boats an easy target, and present a united front. Deck crews stand by, visible on the rails, while the helicopter maintains a low orbit overhead. No weapons are fired, but every action is calculated to project dominance. Electronic warfare. Readiness is declared throughout the group. Jamming systems remain silent, but operators are poised to escalate if hostile emissions spike. The Spectrum Watch Chief notes that the GPS anomaly fades, likely a test rather than a full attempt to blind navigation. The fast boats continue their approach, but their formation wavers. The combined effect of visible force, coordinated merchant protection, and electronic vigilance begins to constrain their options. In the strait, presence and posture are often the sharpest tools. Strait of Hormuz. A single miscalculation could disrupt 20% of global oil flow. Today, restraint and readiness remain the true arbiters of stability. No missiles fired, yet every signal, every posture still shapes the balance. In these waters, silence is often the loudest warning.